I can't talk at the moment. I have to go and drink some Chardonnay. I know. We seem to have... Anyway, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hello, everybody. Text messages coming through, all sorts of things. Oh, hello, everyone. How lovely to see you. Happy Thursday. Polly's a little bit hyperactive. Paul, you can come down now. Hey, there she is. Yeah. We'll just let her get that out of... Polly? 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 Maybe just get your wine in your glass and this will settle down in a moment. It's crazy. Paul, can you be quiet now? Because I'm talking to my friends here. We're having a drink. Right. Hello, Shell. You win again. Don't know where Jeff is today. And hello, Matt, Emily, Kevin, Kay, hello, Sharpie and Rod, g'day, g'day. Craig and Karen, hello. Hello, Cutty and John. So hi, Pete. Yeah, Polly likes to put on a little show for us every now and again. Jeremy, that was just for you because you're new. Hello, Jeremy. Welcome to Drinks with Kate. Lovely to see you. Polly has had a haircut, Cutty. She had a mohawk for about 3 hours, which was quite fun. Polly's very excited for Shardy Day, and I think she's trying to tell me that we seem to have screwed up because some of you got Robinson 2011. Most of you should have got the estate. So this is the one that you should have got, and I apologise. But it doesn't really matter because they'll be actually relatively similar and I can talk about both. So all very good, all very good. Hello, Kim and Dave. Lovely to see you. Welcome. Hello, Sarah. Hello, Zach and Jack. How you doing? It's great to be here, isn't it? I'm feeling kind of a bit, I don't know. I'm very pleased to be at this end of the day. I've had an exciting day. Polly's had a boring day. Polly, you can sit down now? Girl. Yeah. Anyway, hello, Angela and Simon. Good to see you. Hello, Sue and Daryl. Lovely to see you too. It's such a beautiful day. The sun's shining. I didn't think it was supposed to be so gorgeous as this today. Craig had arrived. I was going to ask if it had arrived. Penny's got hers too. So I think we've got maybe 1 or 2 people to let us know that they got their merch. Janet, I don't know if you're watching yet, but yours should be arriving any minute now as well. And when everyone's got their hoodies and trackies, if you've got both, we are going to arrange a little Zoom session so I can get everyone on screen. I'm not sure how we're going to do it, but we'll try and get everyone on screen, take a screenshot, get the photo, and have some proof that we actually did this. Now, I'm not quite sure what's going on with the light because I've got my beautiful light that Shell sent me to make everything, and it's going kind of blue to yellow to blue to yellow. So apologies for that. But anyway, the technology here is always wonderful, as you know. Hello, Paul and Roz and Peter and Karen having fish and chips. I know where you are. You're in Noosa, so enjoy. Hello, Michael. It is a beautiful sunset. I wasn't actually going to show it off today because that room's a bit of a mess, and Jill said don't show them. It is a lovely sunset. It hasn't quite happened yet. If it gets really dramatic, we might have to cut to the sunset briefly. Penny, hello. Good to see you. Yes, I love those photos that you sent, Penny, and you will have noticed that we actually posted them on Instagram. It tells me that my connection's unstable, so let's hope that doesn't mean that you've lost me. Hello, Paul and Sam disappeared down the beach with the twins. Oh, right, Paul. Hello, Paul. I'm sure Sam will be back, and you might be in trouble if you drink it all, but anyway, I'll leave that to you. Oh, pleasure, Michael. Thank you everyone who's ordered the new single vineyard Chardonnays, the Robinson and the McIntyre. Very exciting to be able to release those. And if you haven't ordered them and you're planning to, don't leave it too long because honestly, we made tiny quantities in 2019, and you all know, pretty much all of you know how delicious that wine is. So all good. now I'm not getting any comments, and I'm being told that the connection's unstable. So hopefully, can somebody tell me if you're still getting me? Hopefully you are. I might take a yes. Hello, Jeff and Sue. How you going? Can you? I'm being told we've got an unstable connection. So good, excellent. Okay, great, excellent. All right, I'll keep talking. If you guys will shout out if things go wonky. So I rely on you, particularly as Jeremy's not here. Nigel's not here unless he's got me on in the background. If so, happy birthday, Renee. I didn't expect you guys to be on today, so happy birthday. Hope that Nigel's spoiling you absolutely rotten as we speak. Oh, Sharpie and Rod, yes, exactly. The Centonove menu, I got a phone call from Sue, actually, to let me know that was happening. That's very exciting. They've been good customers of ours for a long time. We love the Centonove guys, and yeah, they are featuring a couple of our wines on their menu for the footy this weekend. So yes, very exciting. Penny, we are drinking the Estate 2011. Apparently, a couple of people at least got Robinson 2011. I can't imagine how that could have happened, but anyway, well, there'll be some heads rolling. Oh no, tomorrow's a public holiday. On Tuesday, heads will roll. Hello, Barry. How are you? Lovely to see you. Let's get this. You can see that my bottle is a little bit cold. I pulled it out of the fridge about half an hour ago, but it's not that warm here, so it's taking a little while to warm up. It's all right. It's good. Let's get some wine in the glass before I crack this bottle, and I'm sure you guys probably already have. And I'm hoping that Joan's there as well. Hello, Joan, if you're there. Yeah. Oh, good. Okay, Michael. Good. I think, yeah, absolutely. So if you do have the Robinson 2011, then it's possibly a little, oh, Shell, no. So some people are having trouble with me and some people aren't. So that's very annoying. Keep reporting if it's continuing to be frozen. Don't know what to do. Have a glass of wine and hopefully it will manage to reconnect itself. Come on, internet. Don't let me down like you have so many times before. Some people are good. Okay, good. Excellent. Like you have so many times before. Some people are good. Okay, good. Excellent. Oh, well, okay. We'll just keep going. Keep forging on. Telstra. All clear on the Turing Airways. Good. Excellent. All right, wine. So 2011, whether you have the Estate Chardonnay or whether you have the Robinson Chardonnay, the big deal about this vintage, and a lot of you who joined us last year will have tasted the Robinson 2011 before. We put it in one of the boxes last year. Oh, hello, Sam. You made it back. Excellent. Paul said that you'd gone to the beach and that he might have to drink the wine by himself. Okay. Oh, yes. Fantastic with the Gruyere. Hello, Alison and Andrew. Lovely to see you. Welcome. So I was just saying 2011, we're going to be talking about two wines because we seem to have sent some Robinson to a couple of people. But the Estate Chardonnay was the one that was supposed to go out. 2011 being someone's texting me now. Cameron, hi. 2011 was that vintage, if you remember. Oh, good. Excellent, Craig. Just listen and sip and everyone will be all right. Okay. I'm going to put some in my glass and then I'm going to tell you the story of 2011 because it's getting ridiculous. Okay, good. Here we go. Chardonnay in glass, 2011. First thing I'm noticing is that colour's still really lovely. There's a bit more gold to it. It was a very pale wine when we first made it and bottled it and released it. Oh, Shell, how annoying. I think that might be just local to you. Nobody else is having trouble with I said hello, Jeff and Sue. I said hello. It's okay. 2011 vintage. So if you remember, 2010 was when the drought broke. So we had 2000, going back a couple of years, 2009 was the year of the horrible bushfires. It wasn't a particularly hot year, but we had a couple of really, really extreme heat events in the summer. It was very, very dry. 2010, the rain started to fall, and it kept falling, and it was so amazing because the dam was emptier than it has ever been since it first filled when we dug it back in 1982, 83. And it was so empty. It was really, really heartbreaking. And over about a 5-month period, it was full to overflowing, which was incredible. But the rain kept falling. So in 2010 was a great year because we had enough rain, we had enough sunshine. The vines kind of recovered from the years of drought that they'd been sort of dealing with. We had a smallish, it wasn't a huge harvest because of the stress that had come from the drought before 2010. It was a really lovely vintage, and a lot of people thought 2010 was going to be the vintage of the century for the Mornington Peninsula. And if you remember 2 weeks ago, we had a 2010 Chardonnay. It was delicious. It was looking really, really great. We moved forward 12 months, and 2011 vintage was a very, very different story. Whereas in 2010, everything had happened when we wanted it to, and everything was very, very in place, easy. Things they were supposed to do when they were supposed to do it. In 2011, it kept raining. It rained and rained and rained and rained, and the poor vines over the summer that was 2010, 2011 summer, we didn't have a lot of sunshine. It was very overcast. It was very humid. So when it wasn't raining, we had a lot of humidity in the air. When it got warm, it was warm, but it wasn't sunny. So we had this awful, very kind of tropical humidity that we don't get down here as a normal thing in summer. Usually when it's hot, it's dry, and when it's wet, it's cooler. But 2011 was not. And so not a lot of sunshine, lots of humidity, both falling from the sky as rain and also just hanging in the air. And so, as you say, Sharpie and Rod, lots of disease pressure. There was also the added problem that people couldn't get into the vineyard at the beginning of the season because it was so wet. So if you were going into the vineyard with tractors, then you're getting bogged and you couldn't spray to help to avoid the diseases. Being where we are here on the McIntyre vineyard, we have this, as I've told you before, very sandy soil on sandy clay, which drains extraordinarily well because we're on top of a hill about 90 metres above sea level. So the water drained away here a little bit faster. And Craig and Rob, I am going to answer your question. I'm getting there. I'm not ignoring you, I promise. So we got into the vineyard with the tractors and were able to put a little antifungal spray on the grapes, which was the only way that we were going to get clean fruit through the vintage before most people. And we avoided most of the severe disease issues that a lot of other people had in 2011. We had people who were reporting getting botrytis in their bunches before veraison, which is not supposed to be physically possible. So it was a very, very weird year. It was a very stressful year. And basically, most of the wine writers who kind of came and visited during the growing season absolutely wrote the season off and said, don't even bother buying any 2011s. We also had people down here who were writing their newsletters saying, we've declassified our wine and we're putting it out under a different label, or we're selling it as clean skins, and anyone who's trying to sell you their wine at full price under their label is ripping you off, basically. I had quite a strong word with the person who wrote that newsletter, and no names will be mentioned now, but it was not the right thing to do because everybody's experience is different. And our experience in 2011 was that, yes, it was stressful. Yes, we had to declassify a lot of fruit to Devil Bend Creek level, and some fruit got thrown away. We were very selective about what got picked, what came into the winery in the first place. And we made some beautiful wines from 2011, but they were very atypical. The Pinots were very light and elegant. Oh, Shell, I'm so sorry. The Pinots were kind of light and elegant. We managed to make a really good, a good estate Pinot and a good Devil Bean Creek Pinot. And we made a very little bit of Robinson Pinot, which you guys would have tasted last year if you were tasting with me then. The Chardonnays, on the other hand, actually, in a way, really benefited from this strange weather because we had a much longer growing season. It went for a month. It took a month longer for the sugars to kind of creep up and the acids to start, dropping away enough for us to feel comfortable about the fruit being ripe enough to pick. And we ended up with these Chardonnays that had incredibly elegant fruit, had really, really intense acidity, and very, very fine and restrained Chardonnay. So when they were young, they were they didn't speak very loudly of anything except for that structure. And what we had to do was decide not to allow the all of the wine to go through a malolactic conversion, because in a cool year like that, we got much higher malic acid levels, which if you then let it go through malolactic fermentation, then the wine would have been a bit soft and buttery, and that wouldn't have worked well with the flavour profile. So, Craig, you're very mean. You're very mean. Cotty and John just checked their rain records. For January to March at Fingal had over 200 mils. That was the experience, I think, across the whole peninsula. I don't know what our records were. I probably should have checked, and I can't even expect Richard to have that in his brain. He's sitting over at the other table again, having a little sip on the wine, which I haven't had a chance to do yet because I've been talking. So I'm hoping that Shell is going to find her way back to us somehow, but I think that was maybe a good suggestion, Rob and Deb, to reload the page. Anyway, thank you, Alison, for giving Shell some of the story. That's good. Let's taste the wine. So Craig and Rob want to know whether. Oh yeah, Rob, can you tell us the rain records for 2011 growing series? Thank you, Barry. Yeah, well, that's how it goes. So the question was, is it lemon or is it gold? And those of you who are studying their WSET know that you can't say lemony gold or goldy lemon. You've got to choose one or the other. For me, and it's hard because it's quite dark in here at this time and I don't have anything white to put it up against, but I would call that probably a medium gold. There you go. Or dark lemon. That's so if it's got it looks to me like it's got some sort of brown note, some slightly brown notes to it that take it to gold rather than lemon. If it's very yellow but just deep lemon yellow, then dark. Medium to dark lemon would be the appropriate descriptor for this. So Michael says lemon. Let's go with lemon. On the nose, however, and this wine, when we first bottled it and released it, it was very citrusy. It was all about lemon rind. And Angela was just checking what I said before. So people got botrytis. So botrytis, if you remember my previous excellent, Kay, thank you. It's definitely lemon. Angela's asking me about botrytis, and botrytis is a type of rot that usually comes on towards the end of the ripening process in grapes, and in white grapes it can be very positive if you're trying to make a Sauterne style sweet wine because it will dehydrate the grapes and concentrate the sugar. But in a wine that you don't want to be like that, then you really don't want botrytis. And if you get botrytis, which is this grey mould basically in the bunches before before veraison was the word that I used, Angela, and that's when the grapes start changing colour and start seriously producing sugar and flavour. So veraison, they're hard little bullets of berries, and they should be quite separate and should be quite clean of disease. But some people were seeing botrytis really early in the season, was basically what I was saying. Rob, thank you. 10, 11, 11 and 12 were Australia's 2 wettest years on record. It was a very strong La Nina event, reinforced by strong negative Indian Ocean dipole. Thank you, Rob. So much rain fell on the Australian continent during that time that the global sea level dropped by about 5 millimetres. Really? Is that true? That's awesome. Thank you, Rob and Deb. Much appreciated. Dad was just saying Rob is our weather expert. Dad reckons, Rob, that you know more about weather than anybody else in the world. Probably the weather here as well in Australia. It's and that's just not a vain claim. He is our weather expert. So thank you very much, Rob. Much appreciated. We will call on you whenever we need stats. So Jeremy, I think I love it. I haven't put it in my mouth yet, but so the 2000. Okay, Michael, I'll answer that question. We're going to I won't answer that question because we're going to drink 2012 Chardonnay, not next week, but the following week. So let's leave that until then to talk about 2012. Oh no, buffering. This is so annoying. Oh, do you know what I've done? Okay, I'm going to try something. If you lose me, oh, see, some people can see me. I don't know whether to just keep going. Okay, so running fine on the upper. Okay, reload worked. Okay, great, excellent, good. Okay, I'm not going to do anything then. I'll just good. Peacock has just jumped up behind me. Very good, excellent. Yes, at the time of night, and the sunset's kind of just fading gradually to sort of pale pink and blue. It's very pretty out there. Okay, so this wine that Jeremy was just saying how delicious he thought it was because of all the lemon sherbet. So yeah, when we first bottled it, it was very lemony and very, very tight and very fine. So let me just have a little smell and a taste, and I'll tell you what I see. So we always thought this wine was going to age well, and I think it's aged so very well. The reason that I suggested the food matches, particularly the seafood and the Japanese, is because this wine's always had really fine acidity, and that acid's still there. You've got that really kind of tangy, sherbety lemon acid there. It still reminds me a little bit of Moroccan preserved lemons, salted lemons. But it's developed some intensity of flavour, and the intensity is very lemony. There's almost there's this kind of yay, excellent, great work, Shell. I'm glad you're back, and thank you, Craig, for your suggestions. Refresh the browser on YouTube. Kenneth suggests. Hello, Kenneth. Lovely to see you. So yeah, I think this is a beautiful wine and it's saying that my connection's unstable again. So if we have to cut this a little bit short, that will be very sad. But just let me know how we're going. Lots of preserved lemon. It's very pure still, but it's got this lovely intensity of flavour. I think it would be fabulous with. So, Kate, I don't think we last year we tasted the Robinson. So those of you who are tasting the Robinson 2011, and there is a really strong similarity between the two because they both had this really fine acidity. They had this real kind of structural kind of line to them. So those of you who are drinking the Robinson 2011, you're going to be getting quite similar characters to what I'm suggesting with the estate wine. The estate wine's maybe a little bit plusher in the middle, but still not nearly as plush as a normal a Moorooduc Estate Chardonnay from a more regular year would be. As I said, it's the only year that in the last 10 years that we've stopped malolactic conversion on some of the Chardonnay, and I think that was really just because we had to do it for the year. And I think that's one of the key things for us at Moorooduc, that we have a way that we like to make our wine, but we in a year where things are different and we need to adjust what we're doing, then we're very happy to do that if we think that's going to make a better wine. So a little bit less new oak, only 65% malolactic conversion in this wine. And so Paul and Ros, yeah, it was a terrible year. And I think this is, I agree, this is a really special wine. The 2010 was much richer and broader and had a lot more of that sort of fatty, truffly kind of lamb fat. Hello, Nina. How you going? Has Pete got home yet? I hope you've got a glass of wine, whether he has or not. So cheers. This wine hasn't got those kind of fatty, rich, kind of honeyed characters to it. It's all about that line and drive and freshness and brightness. I'm just going to scroll back up and see what, because I didn't get to read the whole of your comment, Jeremy, and I thought, yeah, sherbet and fresh lime with zippy acids, really stylish. And I think we had a bit of trouble selling these wines in 2011. We got through them. Hello, Jeff, how you going? Lovely to see you. Just pour yourself a glass of wine and that'll help you catch up. We're having a bit of trouble with our connection tonight, Jeff, so we may have to finish a little bit early, but I think we're soldiering on at the moment. But this wine for me is a real kind of, it's a real oyster wine, as I said in the email on Monday. Freshly shucked oysters, or if you don't like fresh oysters, then you could do them in a Bisan batter or something like that and just lightly fried, just to kind of take the cold out of them and to get that batter or beer batter, get that all kind of, puffing up. Fantastic with fish and chips as well. Because of that sort of that white fish, you want sort of whiting or flathead tails or something like that, and it'll work really well with deep fried scallops or pan fried scallops. Great with prawns, all of those things. But also fantastic. I think it has the acid, it has the flavour to go really well with, as I said before, those more subtle Japanese flavours. You don't want to go into chilies or too much vinegar because there's so much acid in this wine already. You want to keep away from sort of vinegary flavours, but miso, I think miso and eggplant combined will work really, really well. I think sushi, sashimi, fantastic. So, all those flavors. But also, I know one of you, I can't remember who it was, maybe Kay, someone is having Gruyere with this, and aged Gruyere with aged Chardonnay, particularly when the Chardonnay's got the sort of structure that this wine has, is also fantastic. A really, really gorgeous match. So really super. Cotty has asked whether the yield was down because of the weather issues. Partly, Cotty. Partly the yield, we actually left some fruit that wasn't, we dropped a bit of fruit during the growing season because it wasn't perfect. It had a little bit of disease on it, so we cut it off and got rid of it as soon as we could. We also declassified a lot of the wine from single vineyard and estate level down to Devil Bean Creek level. So we made quite a lot of Devil Bean Creek Chardonnay, which was great, and it was a really popular wine and easier to sell because it's a little bit cheaper and people weren't, expecting too much from it. Oh, Kim, Comte, I think would be beautiful with this Chardonnay as well. Absolutely delicious. But yes, so all of those reasons, Cotty, that we had to get rid of some fruit. We declassified some fruit, so we made less of the estate wine and less of the single vineyard wines. But the single vineyard wines, particularly because they're more expensive and because people who buy them as collectors, and they had read all the wine reviews that said don't even bother tasting the 2011s because they're all terrible even before the fruit had been picked. There was sweeping comments made, they will all be terrible, don't even bother tasting them, just wait for the 2012s, which was very heartbreaking for us because we actually think that we made some beautiful Chardonnays in the single vineyard range as well as the estate range. So you guys will get to taste probably a single vineyard 2011 sometime in the not too distant future as well, because I know that we had one last year, but they bear revisiting, and we have a little bit of that wine to make available to you, whereas this wine we don't. This is, we would drink it. So Craig, when we declassify, first of all, no, we don't do, well, yes and no. So in the vineyard, we do a lot of selection of what gets picked and what gets thrown on the ground in the vineyard. So we have very thoughtful pickers who check the fruit as it's coming in. So we sort in the vineyard first of all. We then process those parcels of fruit separately, and there were a couple of parcels of fruit that just didn't live up to what they should have in a normal year. So when we tasted those wines as they were going, we keep all of the parcels separate, and because we're fermenting Chardonnay in oak barrels, that's really easy, 90-litre batches of wine that we can say that 90-litre batch is no good or not good enough, so that goes down to the lesser wine. That wine's, there were a couple that we actually had to throw out, and talking to our friends Nat and Rosalie White at Moorooduc Estate when they still owned the property then, and Nat actually made the heartbreaking decision to throw out most, if not all, of his 2011 Pinot because it just was not up to the standard that he needed it to be released as Moorooduc Estate. And that's a really difficult decision to make, and we were very lucky that we didn't have to go down that path too much ourselves. But we, like Nat and Rosalie, would prefer to not release a wine than release something that was not up to our standard. So that's kind of our pact with you guys, with our customers, that if something gets released under the Moorooduc Estate label, under the Robinson label, under the McIntyre label, under the Devil Bend Creek label, they're not all going to be the same because we have different vintages, but we do think that they're worthy of that wine, of that label. They have to stand up to a certain quality level. And if we don't think that they do, then there are options to sell bulk wine to somebody else to get rid of it. And if it's just really sort of, a bit ordinary but not terrible, that would be an option. But if not, then a better option is to tip the wine down the drain than to bottle something that doesn't uphold our quality standard year in, year out, because we're small. Everybody who buys our wine is judging us on every single bottle of wine that you buy and drink from us. And it's really important to us that we keep the faith with our customers that wine will be delicious to drink. So this wine, I think, has aged amazingly. I think it is drinking really well right now. It's funny because we looked at the 11s a few years ago and they looked like they were sort of falling apart a bit, but then we looked at them again last year and they seem to have pulled themselves together. So maybe they just went through a bit of a dull phase. And you and I are on the same path, because I was just about to talk about aging of this wine. I'm really not sure how much longer this wine will last for, because it's got really good bones, it's got really good structure, and the flavours are hanging off those bones really nicely. It's certainly not looking decrepit yet, and it's not falling over in the way that the wine last week did towards the end of the session. It's kind of opening up more. I think it's probably more delicious in the glass now than it was when I first poured it, which suggests to me that it probably will age for a little bit longer. It's an academic question, really, as far as the estate Chardonnay is concerned, because we don't have any more here. We've got a couple of cases that we'll hold back for maybe a tasting next year or something like that. But basically, it's all gone. As far as the single vineyard wines are concerned, I think they're probably going to go for a few more years. Not sure if it'll be, 3 more years, 5 more years, a little bit longer. Probably better to drink them sooner now rather than later, but absolutely. Craig, you did not buy a bottle of Devil Ben Creek at Aldi. I don't think that's possible. And if so, I'm going to be looking into that, if that's true, because Aldi's really interesting because they only buy their own label stuff. And a long, long time ago, we actually made some own label wine for them, which didn't work because it was too expensive, even though it was cheaper than our wine, and we won't talk about that. That was like 20 years ago. But Devil Ben Creek shouldn't be being sold at Aldi, and if it is, I want to know by whom and how. So let me know about that, Craig. And send me a photograph of the wine. Was it really Devil Bend, or was it Devil's something else? Devil's End Creek? Are you making a joke? I find it very hard, Craig. You're a very funny man, and yeah, End Creek. Oh, really? Well, it's nice to see that somebody's knocking us off. Did you really? And if you did, can you send us a photo of the bottle, because I want to see it, because we might sue them. Okay, Cotty and John are asking, can you turn it into a spirit? These days you can. Well, we can't, but you can send it away. You can sell it to someone to distill it and turn it into a spirit. And in fact, that's why we're seeing a lot of Australian gins now, because there's a couple of companies that have set up distilling cellars, and they're thank you, Craig. There are people who are buying cheap wine and distilling it into spirit, and then people are making really nice gins and various things from it, like Bass and Flinders. Absolutely, Kay. Chicken terrine, Matt. Yum, delicious, excellent. I'm very pleased. I might make a chicken terrine this weekend, actually. I think that sounds like a fun project. And they got tired, now they know we need them. What? Huh? What, Kay? I'm so confused. All right, so the sun is setting. The wine is looking delicious. I still have an unstable connection, according to my computer, so I'm not sure how much of this everyone's getting, so I hope you're getting some of it. But I think I'm probably going to finish up in a moment. Very good comment, Jeremy Wilcox. Thank you for making that point. So Jeremy suggested that he feels that it looks better at room temperature than fresh out of the fridge. And Jeremy's new, so he hasn't heard me ranting on week after week about I always recommend, Jeremy, that people, if they put the wine in the fridge, they pull it out about an hour before the tasting to just let it come up to room temperature. As we move into summer, then maybe we'll change that to half an hour before tasting, or depending on what your living room's like. If you've got good air conditioning, then it doesn't matter. But yeah, I think all of our Chardonnays actually look better at a cool room temperature rather than a cold fridge temperature. So, and it's really interesting to see the wine warm up and open up and just show itself a little bit more, a little bit more with that time, which is really awesome. Thank you, Kay. I understand that the Chardonnay having a little bit of a rest on the aging. I think, thank you, Paul and Roz. I meant, to be honest with you guys, I've had a very exciting day today, and you might have noticed that I sent the link out quite early on, which is maybe why we're having trouble with our connection. So I apologise. It seems to be if I send the link too early, then the connection or the chat doesn't work. So I think, yes, you're right, Penny. It was the earthquake. We'll blame the earthquake on the connection. But I had to go up to Melbourne today because my new phone, oh God, I nearly dropped it again. So I got this new phone 2 months and 2 weeks ago. So it's 2 weeks left of its warranty, and I broke there were cracks in the face, and so I got in contact with the support centre, and they said, if it's still in warranty, you can bring it in you can send it in or bring it in. I thought, I'm not sending it because Australia Post is taking 10 weeks to get anything anywhere. So I made an appointment. I drove for 40 minutes to get into, where did I go to? I went to the Glen in Glen Waverley on Springvale Road for locals. You'll know what I mean. And I went in and it was like, it was dead. It was like a zombie apocalypse movie. There was hardly anyone in there. All the shops were closed. It was very depressing. Anyway, the Apple shop was open and I went in and I said, I've got an appointment and I'm really upset. I've broken my screen, but it says that my phone's still in warranty and you'll fix it for free. So how long do I have to leave my phone with you? Of course, those of you who are not Victorian might not be aware that we're having a public holiday tomorrow for the grand final that we're not having in Victoria. Go figure. So I was expecting to be phoneless for at least the whole weekend because I thought they'd take the phone and, you know, fix it. And the guy's looked at it and he's gone, no, you haven't cracked the screen. I said, yeah, I have. Look, there's cracks. There's a crack there and a crack there and there's one going across there, one there, one there. And he said, no, you haven't cracked the screen. You've cracked the protecting screen that you've paid a lot of money to pay to put on it. So the expensive kit that I bought to wrap my phone up with has actually done its job and the phone is fine. And you're right, Craig, it is an essential service. It was an essential service because if I'd waited, then it would have been out of warranty. But in the end, my phone is not broken. Its protective screen is broken. It's been taken off and stuck back on again, so it looks really manky now. And now I have to wait until Officeworks will let me in to go and buy a new one, but I can cope with that. So that's my story of today. I was really worried I was going to get stuck in Springvale Road and not get back to you guys in time. And so I sent out the link early and I'm like, I've got to go because my appointment's at 2:20 and it's 1 o'clock and I don't know if there's going to be traffic or people protesting because we also, those of you who are not in Victoria might have not caught up on the fact that we've had lots of violent protests on the streets of Melbourne in the last few days, which has been slightly distressing and disturbing and annoying. So anyway, all's well that ends well. But I couldn't find a picture of, we've got all these beautiful pictures of glasses of Chardonnay that Catherine, our photographer, took, and I couldn't find that. So you got the picture of me and Mum and Dad having a hug, which I think is a gorgeous photo and needed to be used anyway. So cheers to that. And also Jill, Richard and I all love Chardonnay and we all really put our faith in this wine and we were really sad that a lot of people didn't even bother to taste it because they'd heard that it wasn't very good, but those who tasted it really liked it. And you guys are getting to taste it tonight and enjoy it with your whatever you're eating and with each other. So I think that's a lovely place to end our story. See, I got to 43 minutes already and managed to crap on for another two. Sorry, guys. Language warning. Anyway, beautiful Chardonnay. What bitter Victorians? Absolutely, we are quite bitter now, and we will get to drink champagne together again one day. So we'll be okay. We'll get there. Thank you, everyone. Next week we're doing Pinot Noir, and being the terribly disorganised person that I am, I can't remember if the next vintage of Pinot Noir is 13 or 14. I think it might be 14. Just if you're looking in your box, you've got a letter with it. It will tell you what we're looking at next. And if all else fails, you've got 2 bottles of Pinot in your box. Choose the older one. They've got a year difference. I'm going to send you an email on Monday anyway. Have a fantastic weekend, everyone. Thank you, Jeremy, for joining us. Thank you, Angela, Cotty, Kate, Craig, Penny, Emily, Kim, Robin, Deb, Barry, everyone. It's been so awesome to see you. Take care. And, happy birthday, Renee. Cheers, everyone. Have a good one. Go whichever football team wins, I think would be awesome. Yay!